Hello Gemini, welcome to your February reading for 2018. This is a general reading for Gemini. You can also look at your rising sign and your moon sign for more information if you wish. If you would like to book a personal reading, one-on-one, the link is below, and follow the link to my website and you can book a personal reading there for you. It will be specific to you and give you a lot more detail. So this is just a general reading here. I'd like to thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing and commenting on my channel. Thank you, and I would like to also thank all those wonderful subscribers who have already booked for a private reading. It's been nice to connect with you as well. So let's get on with your February reading and see what is in store for you. The first card here that I have for you is quite a great card. It's the Priestess, and it can be male or female. It's about the Priestess is about getting in touch with your spirituality, getting in touch with going beneath the physical, further than just the physical, going into the spiritual, going into how you're viewing life, how you view your reality, what you want to bring in, what you want to create. I feel like for you, Gemini, it's been quite a journey. It's been quite a journey, I want to say initiation by fire, really. It's about having gone through this process where you have actually been, you've come out of it. You've come out of it at the other end, having changed, viewing things in a very different way. So while people around you externally may not see the difference, there's been a huge shift within you in how you are viewing your reality, and you are claiming your place in the world. You're claiming your direction. You're claiming your life, I guess, the direction you want to take, your place in the world, what you're contributing. I feel like the process that a lot of you were put in was to show you the path you're meant to be on. A lot of you weren't fulfilling your life's purpose. A lot of you weren't on that correct path of fulfilling it. You were being sidetracked, and so those distractions were being removed by a greater power, by the universe, by source, by God, whatever it is you want to call it. I feel like those distractions were being removed so that you could focus on what it is you were wanting on a core level, on a spiritual level. What do you want to create? But I also feel for a lot of you, there's this newfound peace there as well, this newfound balance. You're finding that, and it's really coming in February. You're really sort of getting there and discovering that in February, which is absolutely wonderful, and what is the driving force behind that is the Ace of Wands. And the Ace, Wands is passion, is direction, is action. It's about moving things forward, moving and shaking, bringing in change. And this is the driving force behind you this month. Okay, it's new beginnings. It's new beginnings and putting in place what it is you want. And I think for a lot of you, what I'm hearing is for a lot of you, this is going to be the first time in a long time that you've actually been able to sit and think, what is it that I want? What am I looking for? You sort of got lost along the way, I feel, for some of you. And this is now really guarding it. Being protective of, okay, this is me, this is what I want, this is my passion, this is the fire in my belly, and I'm going to really be more mindful of that in the future. For many of you, for a lot of you, it really is a time of new doors opening, new change, different way of doing things. The way you were doing things in the past is no longer relevant. Because when I look at the past, I've got the Fool. but he's upside down. When he's this way around, it's new beginnings. You are bringing in those changes. You're making those changes. You're taking the steps. You're taking the steps. You're moving forward, jumping empty-handed into the void. Bringing in the changes. But in reverse, it tells me that for a lot of those changes that have come in were out of your control. A lot of those changes were going to happen whether you wanted them to happen or not. So I feel like I want to say to a lot of you, drop the blame, drop the guilt, drop it. There is none. There is none. Things turned out the way they were meant to turn out for your higher good. So the changes that did come in, some of them you embraced, some of them, some Geminis put those in place and wanted those changes. But I think for a lot of you, those changes were happening. They were out of your control. It was directing you into these new paths, new horizons, bringing new things into your life, really looking at what direction you're taking here, okay? You've also got, overriding it is, the Seven of Pentacles, this is the failure card, this is the card of loss, this is the card of, a fear, I guess. It's what I'm hearing. And yeah, there is things that are going to change. There are things that you're going to perceive that are no longer in your life. They're moving on. They're no longer there. So there could be a residual sense of failure if in a relationship that didn't work, in a job that you were retrenched from, or you moved on from, or your position was no longer available, or something that you didn't achieve the way you wanted it to achieve. There's all those feelings of fear and failure and not being good enough, but that is not the case. It's about really moving these things on that, as I said, are no longer relevant to you. There's a deeper meaning, a deeper purpose behind this. And I feel like for a lot of you, this is how you're feeling, but in fact, it's not the reality. This is just the baggage that you're carrying. Okay, so really look at that. Really look at that. Because there's so many good cards here, I feel like whatever's happened, whatever changes have been put in place and moved on, it's been for your higher good. It's been so that you can really look at what is your purpose, what are your interests, what defines you, what makes you, rather than giving out to everybody else all the time and not having the time or the energy to really look at what you're doing. Instead of living somebody else's journey, you are reclaiming your own journey. Okay, and that's that sense of loss, because that old situation is no longer serving you. It's got to move on. It's got to be moved on. Okay. What all that's led you to, I feel. You see, again, like this, this spiritual journey that you're on. It's moved you onto all those lessons. Everything you've been through has taken you to a level of learning, spiritual enlightenment, looking beneath the surface, looking at the meaning of what's happening. Things don't just happen because they happen. There's always something that is that instigates it, that drives it. There's lessons that we learn. There's growth there for us. There's defining particular aspects of us, and how we can best achieve what makes us happy, what drives us, what are we here to learn personally. So that was a great learning process for you as well. I want to say to you, this is the foundation here. You've got the moon and it's sitting underneath that, you see. And I feel like this is going beneath the surface. This is doing the inner work. This is really understanding what's going on. I want to say to you, it's about really delving deep and understanding where those feelings of inadequacy really stem from. Where do they come from? For some of you, there's that journey. For some of you, there's deceptions or there's untruths or there's something that's going on that you will uncover, that will come to the surface, that you will see. So if someone's not behaving in a completely honest way, if there's someone there that's not being fair, telling the truth, being honest, behaving in a way that is, honourable, you will find out. You will uncover those truths. It will be there for you. So some things will come to the surface for some Geminis in February. For other Geminis, it's going to be a personal journey, personal things that are going to come to the surface, that are going to address all manner of emotions, all manner of... It's like reprogramming the way you have seen a situation, moving forward, leaving this behind. So it's going to be a bit of an interesting time there. It's going to be an interesting time. You've got the Tower. A lot of people go, oh my God, the Tower. Oh, can't be good. But, it is. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. The Tower simply addresses and shows you things that are no longer needed or relevant. So if there's still baggage that you're carrying from the past, because it has been very bumpy, there's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of change. And the change was change that needed to happen. Okay, that's the universe coming in and going, well, that's no longer relevant. Let's get rid of that, And it doesn't have to be a painful process if you acknowledge it and release it. It's the holding on to it, the resistance to that change that creates the pain. That creates the pain. Okay? Deal with that. Understand that change is the only constant, and it happens, and it's happening for a reason, because other things need to come in. You need to move along on your journey and bring new things into your life. And that's what has been happening here, okay? It has been happening here, but you come out of it really well. Prince of Wands, it's you finding the strength, which is the lion. See, the lion is the strength, Fire is passion, it's drive, it's force, and you're going to get that. You're going to, you're going to feel like, okay, all this is coming in, and I'm redefining myself, and I'm dealing with all this stuff that's coming to the surface. I'm getting rid of it because there are new. It's interesting because your card, what's the energy that's around you is the Ace of Wands, and that's passion, energy, drive, bringing in new things, not just thinking about them, but actually taking the action to do it, to bring them in. And that's you driving that forward. It's for you to do. No one's going to do it for you. You need to do it. So you really need to identify what it is you're wanting and bring it in. Because you're going to really feel like doing it. You're just going to wake up and you're just going to feel this excitement. You're just going to want to do it. It's interesting because you've also got the Prince of Cups, fire and water. Interesting, isn't it? Fire and water. And the Prince of Cups is dealing with things too on an emotional level. I feel like there's new emotional horizons coming up for you. You're going to start feeling more emotionally balanced and ready to get yourself out there. If you're in a relationship, it's about moving that relationship forward. New commitments, new heights, it's just going to be moving forward in a wonderful way. It's just going to be really positive. And really good. If you're single, it's going to mean that you're ready to go. You're good to go. You're good to get yourself out there. You could, get yourself out there, mingle, socialise, and meet people, because the energy's around you and you're emotionally ready for that, to bring in that newness. For some of you, it's just going to mean that you're more emotionally available for your friends, for your family, for your children, where you've been a little bit reserved and closed off because you've been dealing with all your own stuff, but you're ready to get back out there. So that's really, really positive. You know, it's amazing, Gemini, because you've got the Prince of Wands, the Prince of Cups, and now you've got the Prince of Swords. So, you know, you've got, let's take the action, let's get things going, let's really make things happen, and you're going to really have this energy, this drive to just get things happening and moving, and emotionally you're going to be much more stable, and you're ready to have that relationship. If you're in a relationship, it's just you're reaching this really wonderful part of it where you're moving forward and things are just working out and happening, and connections are being made and built, which is wonderful. And then you've got the Prince of Swords, which is about not doing any of this without it. You're thinking about it first, without making sure that it's the right thing to do, without thinking about how it's going to happen. Planning it, using past experiences, using past knowledge. So there's nothing that you do that is frivolous. It's all done really well with a really good, strong foundation. I really like that. So that's February. You've got a really busy February, Gemini, you know, and do that really well. Do that really well. And you're going to come to the end of February feeling absolutely on a high. Absolutely, everything's just going to start happening for you. It's going to start opening. I feel like the wheels are turning for you finally. You know, it's like, you know, they're showing me here and they're showing me this metaphor. It's like you've got this car, and it's you know, when you get it bogged and you can't move it, and this is what you've been trying to do last year, and really trying to get this car out of this hole so that you can move forward, and the car represents your life. And I feel by the end of February you've got it out and away you go. It's just going to tear ahead. It's just plans and things that you've always wanted, where you've thought, well, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? By the end of February, it's going to be there for you, and it's going to be happening. Absolutely fantastic energy. I really like that. I'm going to pull out a card from the Angels of Abundance, as I do, and that will give you a summary or an overview of the sort of energy that you're working with in February. I'm really, there's a lot going on for you, Gemini. It's pretty action-packed. Okay, so we have courage to ask for and accept help. And that's from people around you, friends, family, but also your guides, your angels, your ancestors. Ask them for help. They won't help you unless you ask. So for all this change, ask for some assistance. Asking for help is a sign of strength, okay, which is this, you know, and as is accepting it as it is offered to you. Very often when you ask God for help, God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, prayers are answered through other people. So, you know, random people that, you know, strangers that come up and say something that resonates with you. Be mindful of that, because you're going to get messages through that. Be sure to accept this assistance as well as give it to others as you are guided. So it's really about now putting yourself back out there, Gemini. I wish you a very happy February. It's action-packed. Use that energy, because I feel like, wow, it's really moving on. It's a really moving sort of energy. When you feel like you're doing that process, that inner process of things coming up to the surface, just recognize that they're there and release them and say, right, that's the past, I'm releasing you. And then you'll pass through that a lot faster, and you'll be ready to embrace what is there for you in February. So I wish you a happy February.